Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inner Alchemy series, week 2. I am your host and teacher, Mariela Siwerkinti. I am a coach and a strategist for spiritual and personal growth. Today, we're going to talk about all the core wounds, all of them, all 6 of them. And also, we're going to start to talk about strategies to know when they're triggering you and what to do to start healing them. Okay, so we're going to start now. All right. So, we'll understand this week the 6 core wounds at every unconscious level. So this is, I want you to listen to the material and read the material because this is happening at the unconscious level. So this is what may go inside of you. Aha, I've been acting like this and thinking that it's this instead, or I've been doing this and thinking it's because of this instead, when it's actually part of the core wound and part of the ego also that is inflexible. Like we talked last week, we said that the ego is not evil, but it's inflexible, and we have to work with it to make it flexible. Okay. So we're also going to again recognize those ego patterns, how they show up, how they slow you down or trick you. Okay, we're going to learn how to heal and take action, and see how when you are healed and fully awakened, how you will act instead. Okay, and we're going to prepare our bodies for empathetic energy healing. This has been a game changer for me, truly. The empathetic energy healing is very simple to do, but it's so nurturing and necessary, especially if you're a person who is very sensitive to energy or the emotions of others. When you start practicing empathetic energy healing, it's so simple that you can add it to your daily meditation. And I would recommend it to do it daily from now on until we complete the program. Just do it daily until you can do it like every week or twice a week. I would recommend the most. I do it daily. Whenever I skip, if I skip 2 days or more, I can actually feel that I need it. I need it because it nurtures you. It nurtures you at an energetic level. And not only that, it nurtures you at the energetic level, but you also feel it inside of you at your emotional level and at your mental level. And sometimes you can even feel it at the physical level. Because I have to tell you, there's been sometimes when I'm holding on to pain, like I feel like, maybe I slept wrong, or maybe I moved wrong, or maybe, I did something to my shoulder. My book bag is too heavy. And I think it's something physical. But when I do empathetic energy healing and I'm able to release what was going on, then the pain goes away. So that's how I know. I was like, oh, okay, this was either emotional or it was mental. It wasn't physical at all. So that's how empathetic energy can help you. It helps you at the energetic level, but you see it at the emotional, mental, or physical level. So that's the beauty of it. And it can happen right away, right after the session. Okay. All right. So let's go to the first wound. This is the abandonment core wound, how it feels unconsciously. For the abandonment wound, and I have to share this, that's the one that I deal with. Very proudly, I can say that I can see it when it comes up. And I have to tell you, when you are in your pain, you are in your pain. You don't see it as a core wound, really. You see it as I'm in pain and I feel lonely and neglected, and I'm in need. I'm in need, but I teach this. So I'm not allowed to stay in the pain. I go through my material. You have to know that even I go through my material, and I go into, okay, what's the strategy? What's the strategy that I have to do? And when I read it, it's almost as if I'm reading it for the first time. It's like, I can't believe I forgot. This is how tricky the unconscious mind and the ego can be. It tricks you to think that it tricks you to forget what you know, so that you can be in the pain, in the drama, believing that the drama is real, believing that the pain is real. And I have a beautiful mantra that was given to me by Spirit that says, pain never wins. And oh boy, I hang on to that when I'm in pain, whether it's emotional, physical, mental. Whenever I'm feeling the pain, I have to remind myself, pain never wins, pain never wins, pain never wins. Because I have to remind myself that, yes, I have felt pain in the past. It has been in my life. I know what it is at a mental level, at a physical level, at an emotional level. I know what pain is. But none of those things, none of that pain has stayed. What has stayed, it's me, this person. And I'm renewed. I become renewed, I become healed, I become completely, it's a rebirth that I give to myself. And I'm here. I'm here and the pain is gone. So many pains they have come and gone that have not been able to put me completely down. And we all have to one day go, but today is not the day. And that's what I like to tell pain when it comes into my life. Today is not your day. Today is my day. I'm going to conquer this. Yes, I have to acknowledge that I'm in pain. Yes, I have to acknowledge that there's things to work on, but I also have to acknowledge that I'm not alone, that I'm not helpless or hopeless, and that I can take the steps. Only I have the power to take the steps to make it better. And that's what I do, and that's why I have all these strategies to get out of that pain, to get to the other side and go through it, not around it, but through it. Okay. All right. So in the abandonment wound, the way that it shows up unconsciously is like you feel invisible. And it's not about abandoning yourself, really. Like you don't truly abandon yourself. What you abandon is your dreams, your projects, your to-do list. And I'm not talking about the shopping to-do list or the grocery to-do list or the laundry to-do list. No, it's about the to-do list of your dreams and your projects, the things that live in your heart that you want to make come true, that it's important for the world. But when you are in the abandonment wound, you don't see those things as important and you abandon those dreams. And instead, you look after something, you start searching for something to give your energy and attention to. So you give fully to others while neglecting you, because what you experience or what the child experience is neglect, and is and not receiving what it needed. It thought, well, it must be my fault if I'm not receiving, and what is it I have to do in order to receive it? And then if they start working really hard, they think that they're being left behind. So that's what I put in here: being afraid of being left behind or forgotten. That's how it shows unconsciously. So it's not that you feel abandoned, but you feel left behind, and that somehow it's your fault and that you need to catch up. There's also a deep emptiness and melancholy. In the Empath Mastery program, we talk about the difference between melancholy and depression. Depression is not the same as melancholy. Melancholy is not depression. Depression is a completely different um, uh, how do I say this? It's an experience. It's an experience that when you are not ready to heal, you need to be put into that experience until you, from your willingness, become ready to heal. But melancholy is different. Melancholy looks like depression because the person can isolate or can feel very, very lonely or very, very not inspired to do things, because again, you forget that your dreams are important. So it's not that you don't have dreams or that you don't look forward towards the future. It's just that you think they're not important, that you don't want to work on them, even though you know there's a future. With depression, people in depression, they don't see a future. The past is better than the present, and they cannot see a future. But people with melancholy is like there's a future, but nothing that I do, nothing that I have is important. They can't see it as important, and that's the problem. That's how it shows unconsciously. You see your things that are as unimportant, and you see things that other people are doing as important, and you give your attention to those things or to those people. So so you inside of you, it feels that emptiness, that melancholy, and panic sometimes when you're alone. Okay. So that's how it shows unconsciously. And what triggers it, what triggers abandonment, the abandonment wound, and how the ego sabotages is when, when somebody doesn't respond or they don't show up. That can, something easy as that can trigger it. Because think of how when you were a child, the adults neglecting you or not providing what you needed. So when they didn't respond, when they didn't show up, how did you feel? So that can happen now when you need that response from a loved one, when you are trusting for that response, and it doesn't happen continuously. So maybe it's not just one time, but if let's say you're in a relationship and the person has just stopped showing up for the things that matter to you, or they're just not as responsive as they used to, if that becomes a pattern in the relationship, relationship, then that's going to trigger that abandonment wound. Okay. There's also over attachment, and that's the ego, how the ego sabotages you to not heal this wound is like you become over attached and needing constant reassurance. I had a client in a relationship, and she kept sabotaging her health for the relationship because she had a fear to be she had a fear that her partner would leave her. And it was just a mental fear. She never shared this with her partner. But thankfully, that day she came with her partner. And because I had her partner with her, I could talk to the two of them about what was going on. What was happening was that she was sabotaging herself. She was falling down for no reason. She would fall. She would trip and fall and hurt herself. And everything was unconscious, but she was doing it to herself unconsciously. She would trip, she would fall and get hurt, and she was constantly going to the she went a few times to the hospital because she kept falling, and they started to think that maybe it was something neurological going on. But when I saw it, it was the core wound of abandonment that was acting up because she has because of the love she had for the partner. Now she was overly attached to the point that she feared that if the partner would leave her, she would suffer way too much. So she needed to find a way to make her stay. So how do I make you stay? By you having pity over me because I keep getting hurt. Now you have to take care of me and be compassionate and kind to me. So she didn't want to create that world, but unconsciously she was starting to get into that pattern because she needed that reassurance of being loved. And that's what I had to talk to them. I said to the partner, it's like, listen, your partner has the core wound of abandonment. So you need to constantly reassure her that you are going to stay. That you love her and that you will work through things no matter what. If that's how you feel, you need to verbalize it to your partner so that she is loved in her wound. And that will make a difference because she needs to hear those words. Because in the past, the people left, and she was left again, left behind to fend for herself, and that's what triggers the wound the most. So they understood it. They understood it, and it was so simple just to say to just give her that reassurance. And that's how do I say this? It's kind of like a clutch. But in the beginning of the healing process, you need all the help that you need until you can take on your own and say like, okay, I don't need external reassurance. I can reassure myself that I'm going to be fine, whether I'm with my partner or without a partner. I can take care of myself. I'm nurturing myself. I'm giving to myself everything that I deserve and everything that nurtures me and helps me grow. Because the abandonment wound, it's all about feeding and nurturing and seeing and celebrating your achievements, celebrating how beautiful you are, how important you are, how amazing you are in everything that you do, and how you do it is so important because again, for people in the abandonment wound, they need to focus on in their dreams, making their dreams come true. Their dreams are very important for this world, and that will be the healed person will act as that person that is here showing to everyone, this is what I do, this is how I do it, and I'm proud of it. Okay. So again, um the way that it triggers is the self-abandoning the dreams or projects to maintain relationships, or you start creating stories like people always leave me. So that's the sabotaging part. Okay. So what they long to hear the most. People in the abandonment wound, this came to me in a dream. And now I say it to myself. So in these parts here, everything that says affirmations or whenever you see here something in quotations, say that out loud so that you can sense how it feels in your body, where it lands in your body, where you sense that you feel it, to see if if it resonates, if it touches something that was untouched that needed that, because then you will know, oh, okay, this is what I've been waiting for so long, and now I know what it is. And because once you find that specific mantra or affirmation, that's something that take that as one of the medicines. So it's like a little tablespoon of medicine. Like keep saying it to yourself. You don't have to wait for anyone You don't have to wait for another person to say it to you. But if you're in a relationship, you might want to tell your partner, hey, listen, if you truly love me, if you support me, these are the words that I need to hear from you, so that I know that everything's okay. And it's important because sometimes in partnerships, we are very different people, but because we're different people doesn't mean that we can work well together. So it's good to communicate and verbalize and say like, hey, listen, I'm a person who, my love language is words of affirmations. So if you truly love me and you want to support me, this is what I need to hear. If it's truly in your heart, just say it this specific way because it helps me heal as well. So this is what people in the abandonment wound long to hear. And it's like, you are not alone. I'm with you. You belong here and we will work it out. It is so important to hear we will work it out because you're saying like I'm here for you. We will work it out. We don't know what we're going to do, but I'm willing to find out with you what those things are and we'll do it together. Because remember that they feel left behind. Okay. That's the feeling. If I'm feeling left behind, I want to hear my partner or a friend or a family member telling me, we will work it out. Don't worry about it. You're not alone. Okay. The healing action that you have to take. Mm, Before I go there, I want to touch something here. The printout that you're going to get is going to have extensive information. Because of a sake of time, this is what I'm showing in this video and in this presentation. Your printout is going to have a lot more information. So please go through it because I want you to know how each wound shows at a different level, at the energetic, the emotional, and the mental level. So I'm going to talk about it even though it's not here because it's just too much information to put it in here, but I'm going to touch on that. So before the healing action, I want you to know that in the abandonment wound, energetically, it can feel like clinging cords, like seeking safety from others. And that sometimes I kind of felt that in the heart chakra. The heart chakra, I can feel people pulling when they're in the abandonment wound, they're pulling that energy from my heart chakra. And usually, like whenever I do energy healing, most of the work that I do is in the heart chakra. There's a chakra in the front and in the back at the heart level. So both chakras I have to clean and put energy in there. Empathetic energy healing I have to do in those areas as well many times when it's the abandonment wound. At the emotional level, it shows us anxiety or even desperation. And again, melancholy and even grief. Even old grief can come back when you are in the wound. So it like this is what I said. It's like unconsciously you think it's like, oh, I'm grieving the death of my mother that happened 20 years ago, but it's coming now. Like, why is it coming now? And all of a sudden, it's probably because that abandonment wound has been triggered. But what triggered it? You have to look at the circumstances happening at the moment. So, but at the emotional level, it's going to show like grief or melancholy, desperation or anxiety. And at the mental level, people in the abandonment wound, they will create this catastrophic thinking or fears or being unloved. They may have obsessive thoughts about their partner or a family member hating them. And sometimes I have heard them say that my sister hates me, and I have had to ask, like, were those the words that came out of her mouth? And they'll be like, oh no. It's like, then don't say that. Do not say it. You need to be very factual because like again, when we are in our pain, we can get lost and create a whole world in there that is actually not happening. So we have to bring ourselves to the present moment, anchor ourselves, like, ground ourselves, center ourselves, and connect to source, to connect to our spirit so that we can start this healing process consciously, so that the unconscious doesn't take over. I said it last week, we are the consciousness that makes decisions. So you have the power to change anything that is going on inside of you or outside of you. Okay. But inside is first always. Okay. So when it heals, when you start healing, and here's a beautiful affirmation that you can use this week: I am sufficient. You need to know that You're not lacking anything. You, especially anything inside of you. You are sufficient. You can do things. You're not abandoned to your own, resources. Like, no, everything that you have, just look around you. Everything that you have serves you. I can see everything around me right now. Everything that I have serves me, and it has served me. Because in the abandonment wound, and when we are in wounds, we're going to see at what's lacking, what's missing. Is my partner missing? Is love missing? Is money missing? Is resources missing? We're going to look at what's missing. We're going to forget all the things that we already have, and the things that we already have had, all the things that we have conquered already. We tend to forget those things. So it's so important to acknowledge, I am sufficient. I am supported, always provided for, because you need to acknowledge the past, always provided for, and I am worthy of love and care. It doesn't matter where it comes from. You are worthy of love and care. And the first person that can give you that is yourself. You have to show yourself love and care. Love and care for you as a person, no matter what you do, no matter how you do it. What you do is important, how you do it is important. Okay. And so that's a great affirmation that you can use. And when you are finally awaking from this state, you have the ability to move forward with confidence, creating the life that you love. Remember that your dreams are important, and they're not just important as beautiful. They can change people's lives. I had to, again, I have the core wound of abandonment. For many years, I didn't know what my call was. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know what my mission was. And I lived many lives that I didn't enjoy, that made me nervous. I thought that I had social anxiety, and it turned out it was just that I was in the wrong place doing something that I didn't enjoy, and I kept working really hard, thinking that that's how life is. And but when now that I do this, I mean, this to me is it's a pleasure to do. And but I had to teach myself how to make my dreams be important to me. Doesn't matter that they're important to other people, but they need to be important to me, because I can't just leave them behind. I need to work on manifesting them. So that is the awakened state, is like the wholeness from within. Everything is important, everything's valuable inside of me. With confidence, creating the life that you love. There's nothing in my life that I don't love now. Everything in my life I love. And I'm giving myself the freedom to discover other things as well, to keep growing. Okay. Um, and you give that example to others to follow their own dreams. So that's the awakened state. You become that embodiment of this is what it looks like when you listen to your heart and you make your dreams come true. And also unconditional love. You need to be connected to unconditional love, because that's what you are. That's the aspect of God that you came here to represent. That's why you have so many dreams inside of you. Okay. So a person who is unhealed will cancel their personal goals when a friend is upset, or when they seem like their partner doesn't love them. They cancel their own projects, their own personal development even. But when they're healed, they actually enjoy solitude. They trust divine timing, and they don't chase love anymore. They know that everything inside of them brings them the love that they need, because now they're working on their dreams, and everything that they have around them, it gives them reasons to bring more love out. Now for the rejection one. So how does it feel unconsciously? The rejection one was how do I say this? Every wound that I have felt, it has been done by spirit so that I could understand it. My core wound is abandonment. Rejection, I have never felt rejected. Even though I felt abandoned or neglected, I never felt that it was coming from rejection. So this one I had to understand it. And I actually have a lot of clients. The majority of my clients have the abandonment wound and the core wound. Those are the most. And these are my sensitive people. These are my artists, my misunderstood empaths or misunderstood mystics, that have multiple talents, but were never appreciated by their talents. So it's a deep fear of not being accepted or being criticized for sharing what they think and who they are. And it feels like their essence is invalid or too much. So They're either treated as you're not important or you're just too much. I don't get you. I just don't get you. I don't know why I need to get you. So they feel dismissed many times. And most of them, they have said to me, I always felt like the black sheep of the family. They make me feel like the black sheep of the family. And like again, these are the artists or the people that are very sensitive, but are born in families where they're just not understood or appreciated. So they're constantly told to slow down or to be quiet or to do something else instead. Many of them sometimes they end up in families where something is a tradition, like all everyone in our family are doctors, or and everyone in my family we're all mechanics, and then you don't want to, you're completely different, you're artistic and then don't understand of that, or you're spiritual, you can hear things, you can see things, you have dreams, and they'll tell you it's like, oh no, that's of the devil, or like, musicians don't make any money, or artists don't make any money, you're going to be starving. So they're really discouraged from doing what inside of them feels natural. So eventually they hide themselves. They hide so much that even they forget who they are. They hide their talents, that they dismiss their talents as something that can actually they live and do and be happy with, and they can actually provide money. They can actually get money from it. They can have a good livelihood with it. So that's how they usually, it feels unconsciously. They have this deep fear of not being accepted and being criticized for sharing what they think. But it's because of all these things that happened when they were little kids. It was just not appreciated. It was actually dismissed and even pushed away. And again, they feel like the black sheep, and sometimes they create identities to keep people at bay because they don't want to be hurt anymore. But they're actually very sensitive. It's because they're very sensitive. They're usually triggered by criticism, even constructive criticism. How do I say this? In a work environment, constructive criticism helps the structure, helps projects succeed. For these people, they take it too personally. And really there's no other way, because what they make, what they do, what they make, they're so sensitive that what they make is not a thing, but it's something that they gave birth to. It's their baby. It has their energy. They're connected even at a spiritual level with what they create. So even at work, when they receive that constructive criticism, it doesn't land too well because they take it personally. It hurts them. And how do I say this? It is not wrong that they feel hurt. They need to hear how it feels inside of them so that they can express and communicate that, because that is what needs to be respected. Their sensitivity needs to be respected. So, but the remember, the ego is inflexible. So these are my people, and I keep calling them my people. And again, it's because many of my clients, I really care for them, and many of my clients either come from the abandonment wound and the rejection wound. So I really feel them. Like I have heard these stories again and again, and I feel their pain. And energetically, I know what's going on, and I know how they feel in their mind, and I know how they feel in their emotions. Like as an empath, I keep sensing these things, and I sense the pattern in these things. Okay. So what happened with them is they start shrinking. When you even again, even with constructive criticism, to them, what they create is something that they gave birth to, and they're very sensitive, and and they need to be talked to in a way that you respect that sensitivity. And it's not hard to do. That's not hard to do, to respect somebody for how they love to create things, their thinking process, their creative process. It's not hard to respect that. Um, because what happens, especially with little kids, if you have little kids that are sensitive, that are naturally talented at something, if you push them away, if you dismiss them, if you criticize what they do, what you're actually doing is you're telling them they don't belong, and energetically you're displacing them, you're pushing them away from the right place in the world. They came here to create, they came here to flourish from where they are. So when you criticize, you push them away. And in the divine matrix, because we're all interconnected, it means that they move out of their place. And if it happens too much and they're adults, their life is going to feel very unstable. Um, and they're going to feel that fear constantly inside of them because they're in the wrong place, not doing what they came here to do. They're not in their natural state. And it's in coming to their natural state, it's going to be a journey of pain because while they come back to their right place in the world, it's still unstable. This is not their land. This is not their environment. And they don't feel good until they reach their environment. I have a client, he's been coming to me. He's been already in some of my programs for the Empath Mastery program. And he did this. And I could feel how he's finally in his place. And he's happy now. Things are happening for him, but he's finally giving himself the chance to do the things and say the things that he wasn't allowed in the past. He's exploring that finally, but it's finally because he's back into the in the whole universe. We all have a place. So he is right back at his place. And maybe he's not exactly at his place, but he's getting there. So the stability is coming back for him. Okay. Um, so they have to watch out for that people pleasing because that's what ends up happening for them. That's their crutch. If they need to survive, if I need to survive, and people don't like who I am or what I do, they don't like my natural skills, then I'm going to start pleasing and tricking myself and hiding my spiritual gifts or my natural talents because it doesn't seem like anybody wants it. And they constantly need that external approval or permission. They're waiting for permission for somebody else because again, even positive criticism can feel too negative for them. So imagine physical punishment. These are the sensitive creators. So to them, physical punishment, they don't, it's way too painful. So they'll start seeking that external approval or permission in order to move. So that's how the ego says, this is the only way we survive. Remember, this is the only way we survive. So you need to get out of that, make that ego flexible and start giving yourself permission to shine, permission to do, permission to create, permission to be you. Okay. All right. All right, so what is it they long to hear? In the rejection wound, what they long to hear is you are accepted exactly as you are. Your way is also the right way. This is so important because they can see the world in different ways. These are artists and creatives. They're very creative. They're going to invent something new, a new word, a new song, a new style. And they're being told you're wrong. This is wrong. We don't do it like this. So when they hear your way is also the right way, they feel it. They feel it. Or I want to learn from you. That's amazing when they hear that. I want to learn from you. I love what you're doing and I want to learn from you. And there's room for you. There's room for you. There's room because they constantly feel pushed away. So this is what they long to hear. Now, the affirmation that you can use, I'm going to skip to that one. The affirmation that you can use is, I am seen. My presence is a blessing. You have to know that your presence is a blessing because you are part of the divine matrix. So you can say and affirm and believe that your presence is a blessing and your gifts are important. Your talents are important. You can grow your talents. You have permission to grow your talents. You have permission to explore who you are. You have permission to grow and keep on growing at your own pace as well. So you can add that in there at your own pace because as a sensitive, you have to work with how you feel inside. Okay. Um, so let's go to, before we go to the healing action, I want to mention a few things, how sometimes I feel this energetically. Most of the time, what I feel is in the throat chakra. The throat chakra is not just about speaking or talking or communication. It's expression, how you express in this world. What is it you want to express into this world? How is it? It's self-expression, all of that, okay? So most of the time, it's like when people have issues in the throat chakra, it's it could be because of that pattern or feeling rejected, thinking that you're rejected or not being in the right place in the divine matrix in the world. You're still away from it. You're still separate from it. And until you get to that place, you may have issues with your throat chakra. Okay. And now emotionally, they can feel shame or unworthiness, and there's a lot of defensiveness and harsh criticism towards others because that's how they saw that the world worked. If they're criticizing me, okay, that's how we play this game. We criticize each other. So they end up criticizing other people for what they do. And how do I say this? But it's the defensiveness. It's like it's when they get triggered, they start becoming very defensive and criticizing others. So remember that many of these wounds happened when we were little. And many of us experience the kind of punishment that we experience, the kind of blame, the kind of shame, and the kind of punishment that we experience. We became afraid of it. So playing the game is like, okay, so I'm gonna if that's the game, that I need to learn how to play this game so that I survive, because everything with the ego is with survival. How do I survive this? I need to learn how to play the game. So in my world, people rejected me. They made fun of what I was doing, or they didn't like what I was doing. And the punishment was, okay, we're going to make you feel ashamed for it or unworthy. So what do I have to do? I have to defend myself. So whenever I feel that people are attacking me, I am going to defend myself and criticize them instead. Okay, so that's how it shows emotionally. Now mentally they second guess themselves a lot. They have self-doubt and a negative comparison. So whenever you see these behaviors in you and that harsh self-criticism, know that that's up and it's unconscious, but it means that your rejection one has been triggered. So you need to heal it. So how do we heal it? We take action by communicating calmly. You need to come to this calm state. Remember that if you're not in your right place in the matrix, if you have been displaced, especially for so long, you're always going to feel nervous of communicating and speaking out your mind because you're not in the right place, so you don't feel safe. So it's so important to calm yourself down, calm your nervous system down in order to communicate how you feel calmly and authentically with transparency, despite the fear. Because by doing that, you start walking back into your place. You're claiming your place in this world. But you have to stop the defensiveness or criticizing, being louder than others because you're a sensitive person. So you need to calm yourself and communicate and know that you may not be understood, but at least you're expressing. And that's what matters. You need to express who you are. You need to be very transparent of who you are and how you do things. And that self-honoring gets you to this place. Okay. So despite the fear, communication is what starts healing everything. Okay. No, so now when you are in the awakened state, when you have healed, then you feel that body, how interconnected it is, how you're interconnected with, you can feel your body, your heart, your spirit, and you know that you are playing in the world. The world becomes your playground, okay? And you move in faith because now you can truly feel that connection with your mind, with your heart is no longer a hard effort, it's effortless. So you move with faith. And so you have to um empathetic energy healing is also physical. I do recommend somatic practices like dance, anything that can feel like self-expression, sports, anything that can help you move your body, because remember that there's a deep connection between your body, your heart, your spirit, your soul, your emotional body, your mental body. You're very connected with that. So a person in the awakened state will act like that, will feel very connected. And important to rewire your beliefs about connection. All right, the next one. Humiliation. So my core wound is abandonment. I had to see, well, Spirit let me see that in one side of my family, generationally, one side of my family suffers of the core wound of abandonment, and the other side of my family suffers of the core wound of humiliation. And humiliation was what I witnessed in my family. I experienced it as neglect, not as humiliation, but I know what it looks like. I don't know what it feels like, but I know what it looks like. And because I was present in those scenarios, there's patterns of belief that I needed to heal, understand them in a different way so that humiliation doesn't take over my life. Okay, so because in the humiliation core wound, unconsciously, it's a deep embarrassment about identity, behavior, and even your body. I was shamed for my body by my family on that side. And for many years, like being petite bothered me. Now I love it. I love being petite. There's nothing wrong about it. I feel very tall, even though I'm petite, and I don't know I'm petite unless I look at pictures and then I see people next to me and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know I was that petite. But I have to tell you, it wasn't until I got pregnant in my 40s that I gave myself permission to say, I'm bigger than life. And I have always felt bigger than life. And I'm here teaching a class in English, and my first language is Spanish. I don't do much in Spanish. My clients are mostly American. I don't have that many clients that speak Spanish. And I don't want to, there's, how do I say this? It has never been an impediment to me. Humiliation is something that I saw it in my family. Thankfully, it didn't become too embedded inside of me, but there were some things that I needed at the level of worthiness that I had to grow. But some things don't bother me. Like I have this big scar on my leg, and I wear bathing suits. And I remember the doctor telling me, "You're never going to be Miss Universe because you're going to have a horrible scar on your leg." And I heard it and I acknowledge it, but it doesn't stop me from wearing a bathing suit, or I don't even know it's there. I don't see it. But people that are in the humiliation core wound, that have this as a core wound, they will be very aware of that because there's a deep embarrassment about identity, behavior, and body. So that will hide something like that. Okay. There's a lot of shame about being exposed or mocked or punished. That's one thing that I saw in my family, that they were over punished, overly punished. Oh my God. It wasn't just and it was physical. So it was borderline abuse. And you can see in the generations in my family how punishment was even worse in my people like my grandparents or my great grandparents. And as they became to my parents and us, it was less physical punishment. And the physical punishment was there, but it wasn't as harsh as the one that my grandfather and his great grandfather experienced it. But that's what creates that can people that came here to heal from that humiliation core wound, they're going to be born in families where they are either embarrassed or physically punished and ashamed when they become ashamed for being who they are. Okay. And there's a fear of being wrong. They have a feeling of being wrong or being seen. I have to tell you, I'm gonna put my family as an example. They're super talented. They're designers, they're artists, they're singers, but they never um they have stayed behind. They have stayed behind, even though they have talent. There's always this threshold that they cannot cross because they're afraid of being mocked. They have a deep embarrassment inside, and I can see that. And my father is a great artist, and he has done great for himself. But I can tell he could be more. He hasn't crossed that. He never crossed that threshold. And again, these are things that are unconscious. So, he doesn't see this, and but you start healing whenever you can decide to start healing. So what triggers and how the ego sabotages that core wound? So what triggers this core wound is public criticism, being blamed or shamed, verbal or physical punishment. Again, that triggers it. So as a kid, you experience these things already. So the survival is, I need to be awake. I need to do anything in my power to not experience these things. So I'm going to hide myself because I don't want to feel humiliated. I don't want to be punished. I don't want to be shamed for who I am or what I do. I don't like that physical punishment or verbal punishment, especially that physical punishment. It's, it takes your worthiness away. I saw that in the vision that Spirit gave me, that it is the physical punishment, the shame, especially the public physical punishment that dims our divine light. So think of slavery, think of torture, think of all those genocides, and that's how light becomes dim inside of us, being a witness of that, experiencing those things. Especially, I mean, physical punishment, it's no different than that torture. It's a torture, it's a form of torture. And you're dimming the lights, the light, the divine light within, in these little kids that have so much inside of them. And later in life, we all need to heal from that. Okay. So they avoid visibility. They avoid, but they overperform in other things. They over apologize. I see this in my family, in that side of the family again. They over apologize. They overperform, and but it's because they're afraid of that punishment, because they know what punishment and shame feels like. They want to avoid it, so they don't want to shine when that's exactly what they need to do. They need to go out and shine. And also they play the blame game, because this is again, it's here, it's to deflect that inner shame and to avoid punishment. So everything, they do anything not to be punished anymore, because that's humiliating. Punishment, physical punishment, and shame, it's humiliating. So they'll play the blame game. Whenever you step out of the blame game, that's when you start healing here. You need to you step away from the blame game. Okay. Okay, what is it they long to hear? They really long to hear there's nothing wrong with you, because they're being told, they're being humiliated, they're being punished, and they take it as there's something wrong with me. Otherwise, why do I keep getting shamed and punished? Something is really wrong with me. And they need to hear this. There's nothing wrong with you. You are fully worthy of joy, love, abundance, and pleasure. You are worthy of pleasure. That is something that in my family doesn't exist. That word doesn't exist, pleasure. It's probably seen as something wrong or something dirty. And something that I started to discover, it has nothing to do with sex or with something trivial. Um, Pleasure is a form of joy that you feel in your physical body. It's okay to allow your physical body to feel joy. You don't have to feel joy just at a mental level or emotional level. Your body, it is safe for your body to feel joy, and that's what we call pleasure. So imagine, so sometimes I've done this, okay, just so as an example. So remember, when you kiss someone, you kiss that person with love, you're giving. But I remember one time being just very intentional and just feeling how it feels to kiss. I just want to feel how I feel when I kiss, because I know I'm giving love. But instead of focusing on giving, I'm gonna focus on what's actually happening inside of me when I'm doing this thing. Okay. Remember that I'm in the abandonment wound, and in the abandonment wound, other people are more important than me, or my needs, or what I want, or my dreams. So that's what got me to do this exercise. I'm just going to feel how it feels in my body when I do things that I love to do. So that's how I discovered, oh, this is what people call pleasure, because it feels good in the body. So not just in my mind, not just in my emotions, my heart, my mind is saying yes to this, but I have never allowed myself to feel what my whole body feels like, how it lands in my body, where it hits in my body. And now I know. So you can even do that with yourself. Like sometimes you'll see that we have talked about EFT, and there's havening. And in havening, we actually caress our arms, caress our face. Because when we were little babies, we always had, we all had our difficult experiences, but we also had beautiful experiences. And some of those beautiful experiences is a loved one, a mother, a father, a grandmother, a grandfather, and that, came and did this and say, oh, you're just a beautiful baby, such a beautiful baby. So in havening, we talk about how we still have these receptors when we were babies. All these feelings, they were recorded in our subconscious, and when you do it again yourself, you can awaken that same calmness and feeling when you were a little kid, and you're using your physical body to achieve that mental or emotional calmness. It's okay to give your body joy. Like, it feels nice to feel caressed and care and love and appreciate that somebody touches your hair and says beautiful, touches your face and say you're so beautiful. You're safe. It is safe for you. It is safe for you to be here, right now. You can try it. It's called havening. Okay. All right. So, in an awakened state, then they embody that dignity, that empowerment, that sovereignty, that even though people may not agree with them or they may try to mock them or shame them, they're not going to take it because they know who they are and they know how valuable they are. Their value comes from the inside. They know they're whole, they know they're complete, there's nothing missing, and they're fully loved. So that's how they act in the awakened state. Um, they embody dignity and full worthiness of self, others, and every creation in this world. Because once they know that they are worthy, they see that everyone else is worthy. Everything is worthy in this world. Everything has value, beauty, and power. And again, they're out of the blame game again. And instead of, they guide others through their shame with nobility. So these are many of when you see a person who really embodies this and that they're in the awakened state, they're going to tell you their story of the horrible things that happened to them, but they will do it with them with a grace and majesty and dignity, where they tell you a story, but they don't sink into it was horrible and like they shame me and it was their fault. So it's no longer that story, but it's like what's the lesson? This is the lesson, and they see you as that too. Whenever they talk about their story, it's never to to just make themselves feel important, but more because they see where you are and they want to treat you with respect, with kindness, and give you that grace as well. They want to share that. So these are people of high nobility. Okay. Wait, let me go back a little bit. Oh, here, I keep putting here. They embody this majestic presence, and clear spiritual perspective and novel leadership, because that's what they become. They're not afraid to shine anymore because they came here to shine. Humiliation makes you dim your light. So the aspect of God that they came here to express into this world and to model into this world is exactly that that we can shine and we can take up space, and that we all have a place in this world, and that's something important to give. We have power, we have purpose, we have beauty, and they feel proud of just being the model for that. So think of artists, think of people in that are famous in how they shine. I have to tell some of the artists that are performing artists, and I can tell them, I said, like, when you are in on the stage, you may love what you're doing, but what you're truly giving is medicine to the people, because you're showing everyone that we all have we all have that light inside of us, and we deserve to shine. You are modeling that. You are embodying the light of God within you, shining for all. Okay. Next one. Betrayal. Oh my God, betrayal. So I have to say, I have a client healing the betrayal wound, and this is in my private, in the private program, Journey to Wholeness. I thought it was going to be difficult, but I feel that but she's been doing other work with me. So she started before I started offering the Journey to Wholeness. But as soon as she saw Journey to Wholeness, she's like, sign me in. So I thought it was going to be difficult, but it's actually exactly what she needed to complete this journey of healing journey that she's been to. Betrayal can be hard to manage, because in betrayal, there's a what I'm finding now with clients is that they definitely see a higher level than the family they grew up in. So they're either smarter, intellectually smarter, or they just can see that different perspective than other people, so more philosophical. They can see, because betrayal has nothing to do with actually betraying people. It has to do with betraying who you truly are as your higher self, your potential, your personal potential. That's what it's about. So people in betrayal, they become very disappointed and angry that there's people that they thought they could trust that are not delivering the level of, how do I call it? The level of commitment that they're capable to deliver. Because these people are made better. They're smarter. And from my clients in the betrayal wound, they're smarter. But they get so frustrated because the people around them, the people that they trust, keep creating these scenarios where they end up feeling very disappointed at them. And they end up in actual betrayals. Even in relationships, it's like they, they're in a situation where they cheat on because and they can see it. They can see right through it. And that's what it is, like they can see right through it. So they often feel misled and used and deceived. And I have to tell you, I think I said it in the previous class, I think in my mind, I don't think I have ever been betrayed. And even in my friends, I don't think any of my friends have betrayed me. And neither of my boyfriends, I don't feel that they have cheated on me. Maybe there was a guy or two that maybe possible because of their background cheated on me, but I don't have actual proof that they cheated on me. So I've never knew what betrayal truly was. But when Spirit put this on me so that I can understand this one, it was very difficult to feel it. Um, because of feeling used. I've never felt used in the past. And then probably, people use me, but, I've never thought of it. Like I said, I never felt the pain of it. But it was when Spirit put it on me, like I felt used and I felt deceived. And I needed to put all this into words. Um, and that's how they feel unconsciously, that they feel that it's just too much, that they're constantly feeling misled and used and deceived, and so the trust collapses. It's like okay, they're just, I can't trust anymore. And same thing, it's a collapse of trust and self-worth. And there's the painful belief is they owe me. They said that they were going to this. They said that we're going to do this and didn't do it. They said that they were this and they're not. They said that we're not going to do this and they did it. So that's the painful belief is they owe me because they didn't perform in the way that I expected it or that they said it. So that's the experiences that they have. So let me talk a little bit about that because the triggers, the common triggers that they have are these. It's like whenever they feel that they're being lied to or that they know they're being lied to or any broken promises or infidelity that triggers their core wound. But I do have to tell you that these people are smarter. They're just intellectually smarter than your regular people. And this is why it's like it, there's two things when they are in the pain, they can be delusional. And this is where they have to be very discerning about where they are, not where everybody is because they're always looking externally to find that betrayal. So what happens is when they're little kids, in their essence, in their God essence, in their pure essence, they know that they're supposed to be provided for, provided with love, provided with care to thrive in this world so that they can be in their full potential. Because when we're babies, we come with that aspect of God. We are God when we're born. But then we grow in environments that don't feed that, don't nurture that. We experience the opposite sometimes. So these are people that are very smart, that they know inside of them that you're supposed to, as a parent, provide them with love, with care, and resources, but they can see that you are not in your full potential. And how do I say this? The parents may be doing the best that they can from their thinking level or from their potential where they are. But these little kids know that their parents can do better and they feel betrayed. They feel deceived. This is not what I was promised. And I can see I have a client that said something about her parent, how like I know, like they what do they say? Like she keeps telling me that she's gonna work, but there she is in the bed, not doing anything. And so they know that they have the potential, but they don't, but the other person cannot see that potential. So they feel betrayed by those adults or by those authority figures to them. And they're constantly pushing other people to reach that potential and they keep failing at it. So that's why there's a painful belief is they owe me. Now, other triggers that we have here is feeling replaced or not being provided with what was agreed, whether it's real or imagined. So because these people are smarter and they can see your potential, they can become frustrated. And the person can become frustrated that they're not reaching the potential that the people in the betrayal would expect. So their partners may replace them, may cheat on them because they can't reach that expectation. When these people are so smart that they know, I know that you can do this, but you're not doing it. The problem is control. People in the betrayal wound, they try to control environments and they try to control people. So that's the ego. When the ego is very inflexible, they become very guarded and hyper independent because they feel that they cannot rely on the people that they thought they could trust. And they become very controlling. They need to control their environment because if you're not reaching your potential, then I can't risk that you damage what I'm creating. So but I'm going to be after you so that you reach your potential, so that you do what we agreed you were going to do. When they are in their wound, that can be imagined. Well, I imagine that if I was in a partnership, if I was in a relationship, that my partner was going to provide for me with the resources that I need in for the family. They assume that. So they push other people to so that they can receive something. It can be imagined, but it can be agreed. Maybe there's an agreement and the person is just not performing to their standards. So they try to control. So that's when the ego is very inflexible and they're in their wound and they project that distrust onto others. The clients that call me, I don't have that many clients that call me in the betrayal wound, but when they call me in the betrayal wound, they're usually in that place where they're not, it's not safe for them to trust. And they are very suspicious of everyone around them, especially the level of love and care from others. So sometimes it's hard to tell them, listen, your partner loves you, but you need to heal this first in order to not be suspicious and not look at every red flag because you're looking for red flags. You're not giving them the space and the time to show you that they love you and care for you because you're constantly looking for those red flags. And because you're focused on that, every little thing that they make a mistake, it's going to look like a red flag. So it's really hard to tell them that they need to heal their betrayal core wound first to make that relationship work because it's not that their partner doesn't love you, but sometimes happens is like, well, they love you, but they're tired of their control. And because of that, yes, they want out of the relationship, but it's not because of lack of love, it's because of lack of trust and too much control. All right. So now, what is it they long to hear? So remember that these people are very smart. And but because they feel that other people have failed them, they're trying to control everything. So they need to hear that they're respected and that it's okay for them to rest, that you got it. You got it. You can rest. You got it. I'll do it. You can rest. So they need to hear you are safe to trust again. You are seen and respected. You can rest. So if you're in this wound, you can use this affirmation to start that healing process because there's a lot here that needs to be released first. You cannot do anything from a place of mistrust. You need to trust yourself first and trust that other people will give you the best from their growth, not from the growth you see them at. So you have to say, I release all projections and reconnect to source for divine truth and divine flow. In the divine matrix, you are divine truth and divine flow. full potential. The one who needs to reach the full potential is you, so that you can be the model for everyone else to give themselves permission to reach higher levels. The reason why humans are not in those places, they haven't reached their full potential, is because of their core wounds and their fears and all the pain that they're going through, their unhealed pain. It's not because they don't love you or care about you. It's because they're having issues themselves with themselves and what they experience. But you have the capacity. This is why these people are smarter, because they can see the bigger picture. And in seeing that, in being the person that can see that bigger picture, you need to take advantage of that to grow to your full potential. And then model for everyone what that person looks like, being an example of what that looks like when you choose to reach your own potential. And these are the kind of people that will be like coaches, or or they will be really successful business people, because they said like, okay, all right, everybody else is going to stay behind, and you may have been disloyal to me, but I'm going on my own direction. And that's the misperception from them, is that the people are not loyal, that they're betrayed. And but the best thing that you can do is like just leave them aside. You go ahead and keep thriving and shining and growing and succeeding. Be that example to people that it can be done. And you, from up there, you can teach people how to get there. And whoever chooses to take that path is your people. Whoever doesn't take it is were never your people. And it's okay. It's okay for you to create that ladder for people to for people to reach their higher potential. But you need to know that the people that can follow you and keep up with you are your people and are going to enrich your world. You don't have to worry about the ones that they cannot keep up or that gave up. They didn't betray you. They were not disloyal. They just couldn't um, take that path. It's okay. We all grow at a different pace. We all grow in different ways, and it's okay. So you don't need to control. You need to just keep going and meet the people that are coming with you, and allow people to come with you, or meet the people at the top as well. It's like these are your people, the people that are going with you in that same path of reaching that full potential. And it's a beautiful thing to see people shine. You don't have to feel upset that people that you love and trust didn't come with you. You have to be aware that there's other people around you that have your same passion and your same advocacy to do the things that you love to do while you reach that high potential. So in that awake instead, you honor alignment highly, because otherwise you're going to keep pointing fingers and saying, well, you're not growing, but you're not giving me, but you're not doing it. And I'm here stuck because of you. And you don't want that. That's not alignment. That is loyalty to a pattern that doesn't work for you. That's really doing a disservice to who you are. If you can feel that you can grow, waiting is a trap. You need to do it. So you need to honor that alignment from within and choose relationships with discernment. If people can't follow you, if people can't keep up with you, if people can't see that higher picture, they're not your people. It doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make you bad. It's better for you to be with people that are that can see your vision and can have a passion in the same way that you have a passion. Okay. Injustice. Going to the injustice core wound. Right, the injustice core wound. How it feels unconsciously. I have to say this. I mean, it's more about the triggers, okay? Um, how it looks and feels unconsciously inside a person living the injustice wound. It feels more like everything's unfair, that others have more than you. There's a distinction between the abandonment wound and the injustice core wound. In the abandonment wound, we feel abandoned. Okay, that's a feeling. Like I feel alone. I feel abandoned. But but that makes me feel sad. In the injustice wound, people may feel abandoned, but that makes them angry. Okay? Because they can see it's not fair. The people in the injustice wound, they usually tell me, they make me do everything but I can see my brothers or my siblings or my sisters, they're not doing anything. They just leave it all to me. I'm all alone doing everything. I'm doing it all alone. I feel abandoned. People with the core wound of abandonment will never say, my siblings are not doing it. They're getting more. I'm getting less. We don't notice that. We think we're the problem. And we were left out because we were the problem. We were the weakest link, and it's our fault, and we have to keep up and try harder. People in the injustice wound, they know it's unfair. They know it's unfair. They feel lonely, but they know it's unfair. And that's exactly what needs to be called out in their world. They because they can see disparity. They can hear with that. They are supposed to embody divine justice in the one of the aspects of God is think of creation. When creation happens, when a world, when the world became the world, everything went with the exact timing, with the exact amount, with the exact everything to everything that has always existed. The mountains, the rivers, everything. Everything has the exact amount of what it needs in order to be it. Even you have the right, you had the right amount of everything in order for you to manifest in this world. If something was missing, you wouldn't be here. Something were missing, you would not be here. You had the fair amount to manifest in this world. That's the aspect of God of divine justice. It's like everything is measured in a proportion that it can thrive. Think of thriving, okay? Because in the injustice wound, what they're going to experience is exactly that, not thriving. People are taking resources from me and I cannot thrive, but I can see others having those resources to thrive, and I'm being negated of those resources, or I'm not being provided with the resources or the care or the love or the nurturing, but others are. They're provided with something to thrive, and I am not, and I can notice. So that's how they feel. So they feel unseen and they feel exploited. There's like they can feel that gap inside of them. This is not fair. And if I'm not receiving what I need to thrive, then I'm going to perish. Now, the triggers and the sabotaging patterns can be very blinding. I'm gonna say that blinding, because what's the opposite of justice and injustice, all right? And whenever culturally we talk about justice and injustice, we see elements of fighting for your rights or fighting for resources, but the fighting isn't there. And that's exactly what the how the ego will trigger. It would trigger them into thinking that they need to fight for what they need or fight for their rights or fight. They the ego will sabotage with that. Either I'll do this myself, my way, and I'm the victim and I'm the martyr and I have a limited mindset, or I need to fight this. Okay. But fighting in a way that is negative. So in injustice, you're going to feel anger, but you need to use that anger to give it an action to resolve what's going on. So it's not about fighting to shame or to blame or to punish, but it's um let me see if it's here. Kind of like the word is escaping me, but it's a call for action. You can't just philosophize what's going on. It's like you need to take action. Because remember that the aspect of God is like, I have given everything the right measurement in order to exist and thrive. So you have to do the same. You have to take action in order to find that, in order to thrive, to find the way, your way to thrive. Okay. But the sabotaging, it will be like anything, the way that it's triggered is like unequal treatment or lack of recognition or disrespect will trigger that injustice core wound. Seeing others succeed can also trigger it. especially if it's with less effort, because this is all people in the core wouldn't measure everything and receiving less than others. When you feel, when you're again measuring, when you're measuring and mentally or emotionally, and you feel that you're receiving less than others, then that will trigger. Now, what's very important here is how the ego will sabotage it is that sometimes the ego will make you create stories to defend your story, to defend your pain. It will make you create stories to defend your pain or to excuse your pain. So, and then you stay as the victim because it can become an identity. My people have always been treated this way. In my family, we were always treated this way. My kind, they treat my kind like this. So the ego will connect you to be a victim and connect you with a story to hold the pain and will connect you to an identity that will defend those stories that are holding the pain. So you have to see that really, really clearly that you don't have to connect to a specific story or a specific identity because the aspect of God that you want to awaken and embody is exactly that bravery to speak out to be indignation is the word to feel that indignation but letting bravery rise to speak out and to look for the resources to thrive without thinking that people are taking it from you. And even if that's real, if you're going through a situation where you know clearly that resources that you need to thrive are being taken from you, then you have to notice, I mean, look at the universe. The universe is abundant, and you need to connect with that abundance. And in the same way that God is providing everything in this world here to exist and thrive, then you shall be provided as well. But you have to follow spirit for the guidance to take you to those places that will provide you the resources to thrive. Okay, that has been part of my work as well. Is like, okay, I always ask a spirit, okay, guide me to the people, guide me to the organizations, guide me to the resources that will that are here to help me thrive. So I always tell spirit to show me the synchronicities, to encourage me to take those opportunities. That's one thing that I tell them. It's like, show me, tell me, make me feel, reveal to me clearly the people that are my supporters, the resources that will enrich me and take me to thrive and encourage me to see them and take them. And that's because I want to stay away from this mentality that there's injustice. And you can see there is injustice, but in the divine environment, there is no injustice. It's just that humans may hoard resources, but there's other humans that give it away. And there's other opportunities, there's other openings, and that's where I want to go. I can tell you so much that I have done in so little time because of that mindset that I know that the spirit is guiding me to the resources for me and my son to thrive in this world. And it's because of these affirmations that I use. And, remember what we talked about in the first week. You need an energetic engagement. You need the focus. You need the mental focus, the emotional participation. You need to be engaged with what you want to find and what you want to create. Okay. All right. So, what they long to hear is I honor you and your needs. That's a good one. I like saying that. I honor what you need. I want you to know that. I want you to know that I honor what you need. Your needs are valid. And what would you like? I'm here for you. Because you need to get them out. You need to get them out from this mentality of victimhood that it only happens to their people or to their kind or just to them. You want to get them out of that victimhood. So it's important when they hear, I'm here for you. What would you like? There's an affirmation here that I put. I am worthy of respect, support, and abundance. Okay. So feel that how lands in your body. Okay. Um, yes. So let me say that. So all the material that I'm talking, you're gonna read it here as well. There's a few things here. Emotionally, these are the people that can become very bitter whenever you have I like to say, I become better, I don't become bitter. And I say that on purpose. And I don't mean to be, I don't say it in a way that is condescending. I say it because I know it can be true. People that hold on to pain, and especially the people that hold on to anger, can become bitter inside. There's a lady that I gave a healing that it was showing me how the anger, and not because she's a bad person, but because she was frustrating of doing so much on her own, that frustration was sadness, and that sadness in fighting for her life became a frustration, and that sadness became anger, and that anger was not being released at all. She was keeping it inside. And she has the core wound of abandonment. Again, in the core wound of abandonment, you think that you need to figure things out on your own. So she was holding on to all this sadness, frustration, and anger because she thought she needed to figure it out on her own. She was left out. She was left, behind. So I could feel how that turned inside of her. It started turning into something very toxic to her body that her liver was working overtime to clean because now it's becoming chemical. It was energetic, emotional, mental, but now it's becoming chemical. So now her organs, physical organs, are managing that chemical toxicity because she's not able to release that anger. And people in the injustice wound may become frustrated and may turn all that anger that needs to be, again, if you don't turn that indignation should awaken you to take action, not to become anger. But it's okay to feel that indignation of this is wrong and I'm being disrespected, but it needs to be communicated. You need to align with the action to advocate for yourself or for others. And it's important because otherwise you emotionally you are going to show that bitterness, frustration, even jealousy. You will feel like that. So that's how it shows emotionally. And then mentally, it can show as scarcity scripts that you have in your head. Again, like my people, like I'm not being given. They always give me less. I'm always being provided less. So it's like scarcity script that you have in your head, and you distrust resources and people. You cannot turn that indignation into social action for good. You can turn it actually into something very negative. So instead of fighting, you have to align with what is that you actually need? What is it you need? And in what way you need to receive it in order to honor who you are. So it's so important to turn all that indignation into communication to advocate for yourself and others. That's when you truly start healing. And then in the awakened state, I have a client that says, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams because she came from this injustice. That's what I keep feeling in her, the injustice wound, but she is a healed injustice wound. So she is very brave in everything that she does. And she manifests with ease. She's no longer in the fight for resources. She manifests things with ease. All the resources come to her, and she is a very generous person as well. So that's in the awakened state. They embody that bravery, and they're being guided by spirit to confront every difficulty. So once you are in that state and you are giving this inner power, so that indignation turns into inner power to speak, to get people together, to produce a change, because in the aspect of God that says everything here needs to thrive comes through you now. It comes through your presence, your word, your action. You allow that. Think of a dam holding resources. You become the person that opens that up for the abundance to come into everyone's life so that we all can thrive and not just a few. So it's good that you notice that there's an injustice and an imbalance in everything. What's not good is to stay in the anger and the blaming and the shaming and the fighting, but to turn it instead into like, okay, I'm going to embody, because I know that we all came here to thrive, not just to survive, but we came here to thrive. But what do we need as humans in this 3D world? We do need resources, and that from the divine matrix and from the universe, we are abundant in resources. So we need to open up the path for everyone to receive what is rightfully theirs. So you start manifesting with ease once you are in the awakened state. And because you know it's a flow and you're connected with source, you're being led by spirit to confront these difficult people, or the people that want to keep putting blocks or yeah, blocking resources. You are led by spirit to confront them, and you become more generous with the people that need all these resources as well. All right, so last one. I told you this was going to be long. Okay, so scarcity core wound, how it feels unconsciously. I had a client. I have um, I have seen this in the past, but it wasn't until this client that I saw it as a core wound, as the core wound of scarcity. Um, it feels different. If people in the core wound of scarcity, they truly feel afraid from the inside out. They feel that they don't have enough and that they might die. This was very sad to see it, that they have something inside of them that they think they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it financially, physically, emotionally, um, health wise. They have this embedded feeling in them that they're not going to make it. And it's because they did experience that growing up. They experienced their parents saying those things: we're not going to make it. We don't think we're going to make it this month. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Or they actually experienced that, being maybe being thrown out of their homes, or being homeless, or not having food, being hungry, going to bed hungry. They experience scarcity of resources, and it hasn't left their subconscious mind. So for them, things are not enough. They never feel that there's enough. I can tell you, I have a family member in this wound, and it- that that's um that's a conversation of this person would never say, oh, we're running out of milk. They'll say, we're running out of milk. I was like, all right, but don't be afraid. There's milk out there, and there's money to get the milk, and there's a car to go to the place to pay with money to get the milk. But I will always have that fear with the words, we run out of this. We're not gonna have that. It's always like that. And I have to say, it's very highlighted. You can tell these people, they're truly worried inside of them. There's a true fear that they co-live with. The fear lives in their body, inside of them. And they deal with that every day in their life. And they have that fear of loss, of lack, and that constant survival. They're constantly in survival mode, or they're also in competition, especially when they are at work. They feel that if they don't work hard enough, that they're not going to be chosen. And these are also the people that you see hoarding or rationing or hoarding, because they're always worried about resources not being enough. So they're either rationing, and they're very strict at rationing, and they're very um they don't have good self-control when it comes to hoarding. They'll hoard things even if they're not going to use it. And that's a scarcity core one that comes from that. Sometimes that it's circumstantial. I can tell you that when I went through my first divorce, I was pretty much left with nothing. Not nothing. It was less than zero, because I was left with debt. So I did experience a period of scarcity, but I experienced it from the core wound of abandonment, because again, to me, I was left behind. Okay. But because I did experience physical loss, I lost my house in foreclosure. I lost my relationship. I had a miscarriage, so I had a physical loss. I was emotional loss, mental loss. So I had a loss even in vitality, because I was sick for so long after that miscarriage. I needed to recuperate. So I did experience what poverty is. I did experience it. So I find myself doing things unconsciously like this, like the hoarding and the rationing of the food, because I was in that survival mode. So I can tell you that unconsciously I was doing these things, but from that core wound of like I've been left behind and left to these little resources that I have, and it's all my fault. Okay, so but I can tell you that this wound is it's a very scary one because you have to deal with that fear of I may not make it. Mhm. Um, so what triggers it is, of course, money concerns of lack of resources, or others achieving more and loss. And so anyone can experience something like this. And again, it can be a cycle. But people that have the scarcity core wound, they experienced it in childhood. So it's still embedded in them. And it's something that needs to be released before you can truly experience the opposite of it, which is your infinite abundance with God. Um, they usually sabotage themselves by overworking, not resting. They usually sacrifice themselves a lot. This one client that I had, he saw it in his mother. He lived poverty with his mother, and his mother was the one that actually came to me, because he was always very, he was in a period where he was very stressed and very nervous. His anxiety levels were crazy, and it was because deep inside of him, he thought that he was going to be replaced, or he was going to be thrown out of the job because there were other people that were better than him. So he was overworking. He was overworking and he was sacrificing his rest. And that's why he was where he was, because he was at a place where he hasn't rested enough. He keeps working, 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 not taking care of himself. His anxiety level was really high because he's not taking care of himself. So that was how he was the ego was sabotaging that because of the wound was activated. But that's all he knows. That's how the ego knows this is our survival. If we don't overwork, if we don't overgive, there's no time to work. I mean, there's no time to rest. You need to work. That's my survival way. Like that's the only thing the ego knows, and he couldn't get out of that loop. So they adopt all life for you. I sacrifice my life. That's their ego talking, their survival talking. Okay, and what they long to hear, they long to hear, there is enough for you. You can rest. You are worth my time and my care. That's a big one. That's a big one. I had to say to the mother to say this, you are worth my time and my care, because he didn't want to bother the mom. The mom was the one who lived through all that poverty, and him as a child, there was nothing he can do, but it was the mother that couldn't get out of that poverty until later in life. But when the mother he didn't want to burn his mother with his worries so he wouldn't communicate. So I had to tell the mother, you have to let him know, you have to verbalize and say to him, you are worth my time and my care. Because he was young, still living at home and working really hard as a young person to help the family. So again, it was, a very sad situation. But this is why I say like healing is always available. And in this case, he had his mother for this, and they were in a better place. But because of the patterns from the scarcity one that he had, he created this identity that there was never enough. He has to work really hard and not rest at all. Okay, so something that you can affirm is unconditional love and infinite abundance flows through me. I am enough. You need to believe that in the same way we say love is unconditional, then also abundance is infinite, and peace is eternal, and joy is everlasting. Those elements exist, and you are enough. Um, and then start your healing with taking that action of resting. So these people, to break the pattern of the scarcity wound, you have to trust in divine flow. Everything has a flow, just like the seasons. Look at the seasons. You have the season of winter where everything is resting, and then you have the season of spring when there's action, and summer. So you have to work, stop, rest, nurture, um, replenish, renew, use that power to keep creating and doing things, and then feel when it's time to replenish again and rest. I had to learn that. I'm also an extrovert and I'm very active. I had to learn to listen to my body when it needed to rest because I'm no longer a teenager. I don't have that kind of physical energy, but I have uh, a spark inside of me that wants to do everything and be everywhere. But I needed to learn to respect that flow of rest in action, rest and action, and nurture yourself in those things. It's very important. So that's when things start changing, when you start creating that rest in your life. And also acknowledge you need to be expansive here and think of everything in the past, everything up. You need to acknowledge past abundance, past victories, past success, and past material gains, and everything in your life right now that is a gain. You always have to be in an increase. I have increased, I have grown, I have matured, I have gained. You need to start changing that mindset from scarcity to expansion. I have expanded. I have been abundant in the past. I know what abundance is. That's what got me out because I did experience in my past. I I've never been um how do I say this? My parents were not rich, but I never felt that I was poor or that I didn't have. Even though I didn't have luxuries or a lot of things in my life, I never felt um, that I was lacking. So I had to acknowledge that I always had everything I needed. So now it's just a season. This is just a season. This is just a cycle of this difficult situation with my money and my finances. But it can change. And I did that. I changed. I no longer have the debt that I had, and my life keeps increasing. But I need to acknowledge that. Okay. That needs to be acknowledged. So in the awakened state, you you know the abundance of the universe and you're worthy of receiving. You are alive. You are an alive inner creator. You need to model that creator in you. So allowing resources, giving yourself permission to seek for resources, giving yourself permission to feel worthy to receive those resources so that you can create whatever that you want to create in this world. See your life as abundant. Okay. Now I'm going to think I'm gonna let's see. Now we're going to work on we finished that, so we're gonna work on empathetic energy healing. Okay, let me see. This part is going to be about empathetic energy healing. I'm going to explain a little bit before we start. You're going to have notes for you. Empathetic energy healing, it's a way to connect to source energy. So it's like connecting to the energy of Reiki, archangelic light, pranic healing, any healing modality. It's designed to connect you to the energy of unconditional love, the energy of source, the energy of God, or the angelic energy, whatever you want to call it. It's all about the modality, how you practice that modality, the repetition of practicing that modality, and it's all about the experience that you receive during that modality. So the repetition, of course, is going to be make it more effective. But I have to tell you, we practice this during the soul alignment circles that we do monthly. And the soul alignment circles, it's designed for people who are new and for people that have gone through my programs and they want to continue the practice and build a community. For the people that are new, even for them, they can feel this energy, which for me, when I learned Reiki was the first energy modality that I learned. And I had to learn to trust the modality because I did not feel any energy in my hands. So I just did the modality like, like very in a very mechanical way because I didn't feel anything. But then I learned archangelic light, and archangelic light it's an energy a modality that actually you have to trust that the angels and all the avatars of the divine feminine are working with you and they're guiding your hands. So it helps you develop your third eye. And I think that was the modality that started to help me because not only I had to place hands mechanically, but I had to allow whatever energy, the energy of the divine feminine, of course, and the angelic energy move my hands. So I started trusting, just, surrender to the process. Then pranic healing came along in my life, and pranic healing, it's very visual. The technique is very visual. We work with colors and we work with technique as well. And it can be mechanical, but because of the visualization and plus we just moving and sensing each chakra, because in pranic healing, we measure each chakra. So that was the one that really, the practice of pranic healing opened me even more to experience what energy truly is. By then, I was already feeling everything. I could feel it in my hands. I could feel it in every chakra. I can feel when I'm working with somebody, I can feel in every chakra of the person. I feel it in my chakra just to receive the information. I'm going to clarify this for a little bit. This is something that I speak extensively in my empath mastery programs, because it's needed, because empaths, the way that we are, we're clairsentients, and there's the biggest myth or the biggest misunderstanding about an empath or clairsentient is to think that we absorb energy. We're not sponges. We don't absorb anything. We just retain the energy. Energy cannot be absorbed. It can only intertwine with one another. The energies can come together and dance together and stay together as long as the elements that brought them together are still in there, keeping them together. But once something changes, they can become apart. So that happens with us too. We only retain the energy because we feel that we need to help someone, or because we recognize that energy. And most empaths want to help. So they retain that energy until they know how to help. Is it something you have to do? No, it's not. Is it something that you can choose to release? Yes, you can. And in my programs, that's why I speak extensively about how to sense the energy, but then let it go when it's not yours to it's not your responsibility to heal or resolve. Okay. But then you learn the discernment on how to know if it's your responsibility to heal or resolve it. Okay. So in empathetic energy healing, it's a combination of me working through my pranic healing, measuring my own energy, and I would sit in meditation for hours, just feeling the presence of divine love or unconditional love, just feeling every chakra and activating, not really activating, just feeling and visualizing my crown chakra, just reaching into the sky and just allowing source to come directly through my crown chakra. So one day, because I also have mediumship training, and in mediumship training, we we communicate with spirit, we communicate with the energy of unconditional love, and we communicate with loved ones in spirit form, of course. But when we know that we're working with a spirit team, we communicate with the spirit team, and so it's a practice to keep asking questions, tell me more. How does this feel? How do you want to deliver this message? Tell me that again. Things like that. um, so one day that I was in meditation, what I did was I asked, I asked to feel how big the energy of love is for me. And that's how empathetic energy healing was born, because it was measuring how big it is first, how big that energy of unconditional is for me, specifically for me, and then allowing my whole body, my physical body, my mental body, my emotional body, my chemical body, allowing every cell in my body and every particle of my being to receive it. Okay. And to trust that it's doing something within, and that there will be synchronicities out in the world that will confirm those changes that are happening within me. Okay. So I want you to be excited for this, because it's going to help you not only nurture every cell of your body and every particle of your being, but and it is also going to help you develop your intuition, because you're going to be feeling this energy and seeing how your arms expand without you doing anything. There's something moving your arms to tell you how big this energy is. And what I've noticed with different people, even with me, when I used to do this practice in the beginning, I would just sit down like meditation pose, and my body would move by itself, and it will send my body to the ground, almost like child pose. And whenever that would happen, I would feel that there's something being released out of my body. Like I will stretch better. It will feel, the stretch will be very healing. So sometimes during our circles, I see people moving like they're stretching, or they lay down. Sometimes they need to lay down, or sometimes they need to sit down. So it helps you listen to your physical body, because the energy that you're receiving, everything in you is receiving it. It is your physical body that gives you the signals of how you're receiving it. So the more that you allow your body to move, and the more that you follow it, the more connected you are with that subtle part of you that is speaking. Now you can listen. Now is your time to listen and connect with it, communicate with it, and know what it's doing and what it's telling you. So that's why it helps you develop your third eye, your intuition, because you're connecting with your body and you're connecting with your intuition. Many people have visions, they receive messages, they receive prompts of what's going on with them, they receive release. Like when I do it in the mornings, now that I do it in the mornings, like sometimes I will wake up with pain. And I'm telling you, it's not, I know it's not physical pain because I wouldn't go to bed without pain. I'll wake up without pain, and I know there's something emotional that I was holding back from the day before, maybe. So during the empathetic energy healing, like my neck will start stretching. Something, it's like the force will make me just stretch my neck, and then the pain is completely gone. You can also work with affirmations here, and many times, I in order to be in that surrender mode, I will speak to my whole body, to every cell in my body. So if I know that I'm receiving a release, I will say something like, I release all the baggage that is not mine. I release all the baggage that used to be mine that I have healed. I release all the baggage I don't know how to heal. And I release the baggage I thought was my responsibility to heal, but never was. I just thought it was, but never was. I'm free. I am free. I am free. I love communicating with spirit. I love communicating with this energy of unconditional love. The more that you communicate, the more that you give yourself permission to communicate with this energy, the more worthiness, the more worthy you feel, that your worthiness expand. Because the misperception is like, no, it's like we are lower. We are lower, humans are lower, or we have sins, or we need to cleanse ourselves or our thoughts or our actions. We need some kind of, something needs to happen before we can talk to spirit. And it's not like that. Spirit is always ready to guide. We need to give ourselves permission to communicate freely. Um, the part where you are receiving, feel free to receive as much as you need, because you can talk to spirit during our circles are 2 hours. So most of the time, I will speak to spirit to make it under 2 hours. And you can do that. I've done that. Sometimes there's times where I just have 10 minutes. That's all I have. I only have 10 minutes. So I would say, okay, I only have 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes, help me receive and help me give. And sometimes I just be receiving for 10 minutes and it's complete. Because something key with empathetic energy healing is that we connect with unconditional love, with source, to receive first. So it's different than other energy modalities, because other energy modalities, most of the teachings, most of the techniques is to you learn it to do it on someone else, for someone else to heal. Like Reiki, I mean, you can do Reiki on yourself. Most people go to shares to practice one another. Mm, because we're givers. Many people that come to me mostly they're empaths, they're clairsentients, we're givers. So we need to, when we learn all these modalities, we do it to do it on others. We forget about ourselves. And I know that you know that you wait to do it on yourself, or to, even when the modality says you can do this on yourself, you don't do that, but you practice for others. Okay. So I know because I've been there, I've done that. I was there, and I had to train myself to give to myself first. So empathetic energy healing, it starts with you first, actually. You don't learn it to do it on others. You learn it to give it to yourself, receive the energy of unconditional love yourself first, and then wait for a signal, a clear signal when you are full and complete, when you have fully received and you feel fully complete inside of you, renewed, you feel great, you feel joyful, you feel expanded. Only then you ask for a signal to give. So then our hands are going to change because we're going to be measuring this energy. And as we measure this energy, our hands are usually this way. But you have to allow the hands to move as far, extend as much as possible. When you receive this energy, it's going to go down all the way until you anchor this energy into this world, and then bring it up into your heart, fill up your heart. There's going to be a visualization where you visualize your heart with 4 compartments. And one compartment is going to be for your physical body, one compartment for your emotional body, one compartment for your energetic body, and one compartment for your mental body. So we're going to visualize how each compartment fill up. So then each part of you becomes full. So you visualize this energy of unconditional love becoming to you. You bring it down, because we're gonna ground, center, and connect, and then bring that energy down. Then anchor the energy into the ground, then bring it up. Sometimes during the circles, I ask everyone to ignite every chakra. You really don't have to. You don't have to. As long as you anchor this energy, you are with it. But we do visualize the energy coming into your heart, and then your arms in your hands become an extension of your heart. So then this energy, when you receive it through this whole area, in this area. So you're receiving it fully and completely. You in that way you acknowledge that you are this energy body, that there's not specific ways to receive it. We don't receive it just in the palm, we don't receive it just in the heart. We receive it fully everywhere. And then when we're full and complete, and then we ask a spirit to guide us to give. And then you're going to feel how spirit responds and actually turns your hands forward. And then when you turn your hands forward, you're really not giving from your hands. Your arms and your hands become an extension of your heart. So really, all the energy is going to come out of this whole area, like this big, big, big. And sometimes, I mean, you can be this big. Sometimes people, I see them this big. Sometimes I see myself doing this, and then I see how this energy is coming, like this whole area is just like that energy is coming out. So sometimes I will be doing this. Something interesting that happened. Sometimes I'll be doing this. Sometimes I'll be doing this. Sometimes I'll be doing this. And something that I learned from my sister, because she's also a shaman and a healer practitioner. I told her that, and she told me that she has a meditation where she needs to put her hands like this. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, look at, like, this is how spirit is guiding me to put my hands. Sometimes here, sometimes here, sometimes here. And I can feel the energy coming out. Okay. So once you have that clear signal to give, then you can envision whatever you want in front of you. You can envision the whole world. You can envision a family member. You can envision a project you're working on. You can envision you in the past. You can envision anything, any situation that it's going on in your life. And when you put that in front of you, you're going to say in the same way that you say, we're going to say two different things in the beginning when we're receiving, after we connect and we are receiving, in order to measure how big this energy is, how big, yeah, in order to measure the energy, we will say, this is the love that God has for me. This is the unconditional love that is all mine. The sun is coming on my face right now, and it's like almost like the right moment. Look at that. So let me fix this. Let's see. Okay. So much better. Okay. So, oh, the lip work. Yeah. Okay. Now, when we receive it, we're going to say, this is the love that God has for me. This is the unconditional love that is all mine. And then we just stay there. That's key. We stay there as long as we need, filling up every compartment in our hearts and feeling how this energy may move your body. Usually, I like to do this in our circles. I like to do it standing up because you can sense how the energy feels. But because you have to work with your body, if you feel that it's too much, you can sit down, you can lay down. Like I say, it's better if you listen to your body because then the energy integrates better. So when I see people sitting, sometimes I see people like this with the arms wide open and just touching the chair. So anything that your body's asking you to do, please listen to that because that's how you start surrendering to this energy of unconditional love. And when you're giving, when we're receiving, like I said, you stay as long as you want in there, as long as it's needed. And just for the sake of time, I'll stay there for a little bit. And I'm probably going to do this like about 10 minutes. And then when we're in the middle of it, we will talk to spirit and we will say, when I am full and complete, guide me to give. And we stay in receiving mode until we get a clear signal to move our hands forward. Sometimes it happens right away. Sometimes it takes a little while. It is very important to have patience and have trust. If your hands don't move forward, don't worry. It means that you are just here to receive, and that's okay. What I usually tell my students is like, you can test it. If you feel that, "Oh, maybe I'm doing it wrong, or maybe they didn't hear me, or maybe this is crazy and it's not true." If you want to test it, because we've done this, you can test it. And like when you say, okay, so when I am full and complete, guide me to give, and your hands don't move, you can test it and move your hands forward. And I assure you, something's going to move you back. And it's going to say, nope, you're still receiving. That happened to me many times. Even now, as a practitioner, and when this came to me, I was a practitioner. So as a practitioner, like I want to give. This is what I do daily. Like I receive this for me, and then I send it to everyone in my mailing list, and I send it to my family, and I send it to my friends. And there's times when I'm here, I'm just here receiving, and I'm like, but it's time for me to give. I want to give, especially to my clients, the people that are working with me. I want to give to them. I want to give to my son. And I will move my hands forward and I will move back. I'll be like, oh, okay. So I guess I need it. I need it. And I have to tell you, as practitioners and as healers, natural healers, most people that come to me are empaths, clairsentients, they're natural healers. They have a heart of service. They want to help others. So when you start trusting that it is safe for you to receive and that spirit guides you when to give, you start creating within you that discernment that we so need to know when to help. Okay, because many people have tell many people tell me, I'm sure that this has happened to you, that if you studied an energy modality like Reiki, if somebody comes and starts telling you their sad story or their problems, your hands start getting hot already. Okay. And why is that? it's really is because we have the desire to heal. So, but there's no discernment. Maybe this is not the right time or the right place or even the right person. Maybe they're just telling you their problems, but they're not seeking to be healed. They're just complaining about them. So they're not in a receiving mode, but you are in a giving mode. So this energy healing will help you feel how your body feels when it is safe to give because it's full and complete because it received first. Okay, and this is key. This is why this practice, even though it's so simple, it's very powerful for empaths. I do it. I do it. I do it. Okay, I just don't just teach it. I do it myself, and I can feel that there's days that I'm just here to receive, and it's safe for me to receive. I feel loved by God. I feel that I am God's child. I feel the beloved. I feel how love and care I am, and when I'm guided to give, I feel amazing that I can be the vehicle for the energy of unconditional love to reach to all these people. And sometimes I have to tell you, I mean, I use this when I do healings for others. I use Reiki, Archangelic Light, the pranic healing, and empathetic energy healing as well. And there's sometimes when I'm giving, and when I do it with clients, I just give it. I don't receive it. I do my prayer in the beginning, and I do this daily, like I said, to fill up. But when I do it for my clients, I just give this energy to them. And it's interesting how, for some clients, the energy will expand really, really big, really, really wide. And that's how I know, oh my God, how this is how loved this person is by God. And it makes me feel really good. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the presence of these children, these beloveds, and all these beautiful souls that are here to do so much, that need all this. They have been waiting for all this energy and all this love to reach them in every cell of their body, reach to them and heal them so that they can be full inside with this energy and know what it is. Um, so I'm going to get up. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to show you. You don't need to see, you're going to see me from the waist up. It's not needed for you to see my feet. Just know that we are going to be anchoring, so you're going to hear me. And there's remember that the printout will have a view of how this energy looks in the physical body. Okay, so I'm going to stand up. Okay, all right, this is good. Take this one. Yes. All right. So start always, if you're standing, make sure that your knees are bent just a little bit so that they're not locked. I just want you to avoid being locked with your knees. So bend them a little, feet flat on the floor. If you're sitting, make sure that your feet are flat on the floor in a 90-degree angle. Your legs and your knees, with your lower legs, with your knees and your upper leg, they need to be in a 90-degree angle. Try not to be too low or too high with your legs because it's going to be uncomfortable. Again, this energy is going to help you feel your physical body, what it needs. So listen to that. So adjust your body based on what your body is asking you to do. Keep your shoulders rolled back, tuck in your tailbone, and just have your knees bent, like I said. Be very comfortable, very flexible. We are going to need to be flexible here. And when we move our arms, try not to be here, stuck. Some people do this, not great. Be flexible here. Okay. In order to feel more energy coming through, it's helpful to just elevate the chest. When I elevate the chest, I can open wider. And sometimes the energy will make you do that. In the beginning of my practice, like I was like this, but there was a time where like I feel like my heart wants to get out and it will push me up. It'll push my chest up from being here. It will just go like this. It wants to open up that big. And it's a great experience. Okay. Okay. So become flexible, stand up. We're gonna start with just our hands down until we start measuring. Okay. All right. So take a deep breath. We're going to take 3 deep breaths, breathing in through our nose and exhaling through our mouth. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in again. Breathe out. Deep breath. Breathe in. And breathe out. And now start focusing on your feet. Your feet is your area of grounding, your area of anchoring yourself into this world. So bring all your attention and your focus to your feet. And out loud, you're going to affirm, I am grounded. And take a deep breath. Keep breathing with your nose. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Now bring all your attention with your breath. Bring your attention to your belly. Your belly is your place of power, your place of centeredness. So here we're going to affirm, I am centered. So repeat out loud, I am centered. And take a deep breath. Now bring all your attention with your breath to the top of your crown, to the top of your head. This is our crown chakra, our place of connection with divine source. So here we're going to affirm out loud, I am connected. Say out loud, I am connected. And take a deep breath. Now I want you to visualize a beautiful light on top of your crown. In any color it comes to you. Feel free to visualize the color. And just stay there on top of your crown, just noticing. Visualize it. Focus on it. Imagine feeling the light on top of your crown. You can see how my face starts to move. I didn't move that on my own. I'm already connected. But I'm visualizing the light here. With intention, I want you to visualize that light on your crown and just follow the light on your crown. Follow it a little bit higher. Bring it higher with your visualization and follow the light. So keep going. Follow the light. And feel free to let that light become a beam of light coming out of your crown, and let a beam of light get higher and higher. And as it gets higher, I want you to visualize a thicker, wider light beam coming from the sky to meet your beam of light. And this wider beam coming from the sky is the energy of source and unconditional love. We are always connected to spirit. We're always connected to unconditional love. This visualization helps us see this connection. Visualize how both lights meet together. They grab onto one another. See how they connect. Allow your mind to give you a visual of what that connection means for you. And with intention, I want you to now bring the energy of source and unconditional love. Bring it down with your light beam. And I want you to visualize how it gets down into your crown, and allow the energy of unconditional love to keep washing down all over you, inside and outside. Let it go to every cell of your body, every particle of your being, every organ, every pore, every hair, every blood drop. Just allow it to blend into you fully and completely. And bring that energy into the heart of our Mother Earth and anchor that energy deeply, completely. And now bring that energy into the heart and visualize how it fills up every compartment in your heart. See them one by one, how it fills up. Fill up the compartment of your physical body in your heart. Fill it up. Fill up the compartment of your emotional body. Fill it up. Fill up the compartment of your mental body. Fill it up. And fill up the compartment of your mental body. Fill it up. Every breath helps you fill up more and more each compartment. And now that every compartment in your heart is full, I want you to become loose with your arms. This is when we're going to use our arms. See how loose I am? This part here, you can actually open your eyes and see what I do, because remember that you are connected to energy source already. So you can open your eyes to follow me. We're going to either start from our palms together to see if the energy of unconditional love pushes our hands out, or you can start from high out and come in slowly until the energy of unconditional love stops your hands. That's how we're going to measure the energy. You can just start from here. So I want you to have the intention to feel this energy of unconditional love with your hands, with your arms. And Spirit is facilitating you feeling this energy. So you're going to allow Spirit to move your arms. So remain flexible, remain open, and trust the process. Okay. So from here, we're going to say out loud, this is the love that God has for me. This is the unconditional love that is all mine. You can say it again and again. This is the love that God has for me. This is the unconditional love that is all mine. And just see how big your arms open up. And just allow the energy to open your arms. And remember that you're not just receiving on your hands, you're receiving on your hands, your fingertips, your arms, your heart, your crown. Everything inside of you is receiving this energy. So this that I'm doing right now, you can see I have my eyes open, but I can feel the energy moving my arms. And this is where it is. My heart is open and expanded. My chest is expanded. If I close my eyes, I can feel it stronger, becoming stronger. If I open my eyes, I have a conscious experience with my physical body. My body's glitching as I move. And when we are like this, we are in receiving mode. So we can stay here as long as we want. Usually there will be complete silence. You can close your eyes. I'm going to turn here. You can see how the energy moves me. So while you are receiving, it is safe for you to say to Spirit, to ask the Spirit and say, when I am full and complete, guide me to give. When my hands go to my heart, it means like I'm still receiving. I want you to trust that you will be guided to give. You can say again, when I am full and complete, guide me to give. And just stay here until you get the clear signal to give. And you can even say to Spirit, when I am full and complete, guide me to give, put my hands forward. And then your hands will go like this. Especially if you're not used to any energy modalities, you can say something like that. When I am full and complete, guide me to give, put my hands forward. And again, you can test it and just put your hands forward to see if they go back to receive. For me, when I said put my hands forward, they went forward. And now I'm being guided to give. So you can put anyone in front of you. So I'm going to put all of you in the Inner Alchemy series. Anyone watching the Inner Alchemy series, everyone watching the Inner Alchemy series, this is the love that God has for you. This is the unconditional love that is all yours. You can visualize the light of unconditional love coming out of your heart, coming out of your arms, coming out of your hands, coming out of your fingertips. Remember that your arms and your hands are an expansion of your heart. You can repeat it out loud. You can repeat it in silence. This is the love that God has for you. This is the unconditional love that is all yours. As you can see, I'm blowing air out. It's something my body is asking me to do. So I'm just allowing my body to communicate what needs to be communicated. And once you're given, then we communicate with Spirit again. And we say, when this is full and complete, close my hands. And we close our hands on prayer mode. But wait for the signal, because sometimes we keep giving. It's magical in our circles, our soul alignment circles, how I can see how when we say, when I am full and complete, I need to give. And some people stay here, some people stay here. And then when we say, when this is full and complete, close my hands. And I will usually, like, they will guide me to close my hands first. And then I see other people almost at the same time doing it. Because we're interconnected. So it happens. But some people stay receiving, some people can give. So don't overthink it. Just allow the energy to work through you. The most important thing is to acknowledge that it is not you moving, and we intended to connect with the energy of unconditional love and how this makes you feel, because that's the relationship you want to expand. To expand this in relationship so that you can trust more and more and you can feel safe to connect with your intuition and spirit guiding you through your intuition so that you can feel safe to help. And also trust that you are being provided for. This will manifest into something material, and it will materialize. First is the energy. It goes into, this is why the four compartments, you will notice it in your emotions, in your physical body, in your mental body, your energetic body. When all that happens inside, then eventually you'll start seeing the synchronicities for the outside as well. So I'm going to start to close this circle. So see my hands. That's the intention. I have this intention. So again, I'm going to say, when this is full and complete, close my hands. And Spirit knows that for the sake of time, we're finishing this up. You in your home, you can stay there as much as you want. I have stayed standing up. I didn't feel the need to sit down. Because this is a divine intelligence, feel free to give yourself permission to connect with it and talk to it as if you're talking to me, to yourself, to other people. Um, it's unconditional love, and this unconditional love will train you and provide to you. It asks of you to trust and to surrender. And this surrender brings benefit. I can tell you, like, like the way you saw my neck move, when that happens every day, I mean, in the beginning, I was brave. I was mostly brave in this process, uh, because I would do it on my own. And I really didn't have anyone to talk to about this. So I was pretty much brave. I was like, but that was because also I started before doing empathetic energy healing, I did have mediumship training, and I know that we have free will. And if there's in mediumship, if you call for a loved one spirit in spirit form, but it starts to become troublesome, it doesn't feel good, you can actually close that session. um when you communicate with spirit team, one thing that I train my clients and my students is, like, we have free will, and a true benevolent entity or true benevolent spirit teacher, spirit helper, will respect our decision. There was an instance with one of my clients that I was mentoring, where she became, first she received information about Egyptian knowledge, and then she became curious about it, but she forgot. She forgot because then later in another session, she said, Mariela, this very Egyptian spirit guide came to me, and I said, I'm not ready for you. And then it just bowed to me and left me. And I had to remind her, I said to her, remember that you wanted to discover more about Egyptian just information, spirituality and all that. And then she remembers, oh yes, but I said it was a good thing that you had that experience, because now you can see from experience that when it's a true divine spirit helper, they will respect your decision. And she said, yes, it was very, and she even felt how they how she felt inside when he bowed. He said, like, it was very, like, I felt inside very respected and very honored, and not like he didn't try to persuade her at all. Um, and then later on, because she remembered all that, then she allowed it. And that would happen. That happens with the energy of unconditional love. We think, um, we become fearful of it, and even our body will tremble or be afraid of it when we don't know what it is. It's just as simple as that. If we don't have enough information or too much information about something, fear can come up, because there can be confusion, or just lack of information can cause fear. But in my case, like I said, I started with um, meditation was first, meditation. Meditation led me to lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming led me with so many questions. That's when I started learning all these modalities. I started going into, learning about crystals and the spirit guides and angels, my God, angels, and how they help us. And then I studied all the energy modalities. And then I went to mediumship. So because of all this information, I kind of was very like brave to say, like, I'm just going to let spirit move me. And I trust that I can say no, I can say enough, and it will respect that. But like I said, like we do this in our circles, and our circles are always healing. I have never had anyone say like, "Oh my God, what is this? This is scary. This is evil. This is a ghost or whatever. I'm possessed or you're possessed." And nobody has ever said that. Everybody has everybody have had a great experience. And again, even the people who are new, that will experience the feeling of their arms just extending and expanding and the energy just covering them. There's people that are new that have visions and see lights in other people, and then that person confirms that information. Great things happen with this. So if you do it at home, you're going to feel full inside. And this is exactly what a sensitive person needs to fill up inside, so you can go out in the world and help others and do those difficult things. Even just your regular job is like, okay, now that I feel renewed, I can go out and do the difficult things. Okay. So when it comes to core wounds, you by using this, most of the core wounds have to do with that pain, and releasing the pain is so important. Replenishing from the inside out, all this, the energy of unconditional love, touching all those places that in childhood were hurt, and that's still creating triggers in you in the present life, where you feel like that child that was left behind or rejected or humiliated because experienced so much physical punishment or verbal punishment, verbal insults and things like that. So all that can be renewed and replenished with empathetic energy healing. And this is really close to my heart when I share it. And when people tell me how it's changing, like it makes a difference. And how do I say this? I do have I'm going to say a little stubborn clients or students that will say like, oh, nothing's, I feel this and they tell me that, and I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that. And then after just one session of empathetic energy healing, they're like, no, I feel better now. It was like, keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Believe in it. Because I'm telling you, even to me, sometimes it happens where I forget and I will go. I have to go through my own material sometime when I'm in the wound. When you are in the wound, you believe that the wound is real, that you are that victim. And I will go into my material and say like, oh my God, this is the thing that I need to do because this is exactly the trigger that is happening right now. This is how I'm acting. This is how I'm acting. This is how I'm feeling. So what's the process here? So this is the process. Okay, I need to do my empathetic energy healing. Okay, let me do my empathetic energy healing. And then next week we're going to talk about the affirmations. You're going to receive 10 affirmations that you can use for you're going to see which one calls you, because this is at any time that something happens, you can use those affirmations to release and to receive. And that makes a difference, makes a difference. And that will complement the healing for core wounds. It's so important for you to be mindful of what's being triggered and how you're feeling because of the triggers, and know that it's not because of the situation happening, but because it's really the core wound is being triggered. And if it's being triggered, this is what I need to do. These are the steps that I need to take. These are the words that I long to hear. These are the affirmations that I can use. And this is the empathetic energy healing that I can use to feel loved, feel fully loved by God, by source, by unconditional love. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am loved. I am provided for, and all is well. Okay. So for this week, this is going to be your practice. Start to practice empathetic energy healing. The previous recording will have the mantras and the words that each core wound every person long to hear. So use the affirmations, use the words that you long to hear, and use empathetic energy healing for this week. All right. Thank you very much. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to now say goodbye and we'll see you again next week. All right. Bye bye.